How difficult is Persian? So, in line with the videos I've already made, we're basically just going to talk about how difficult Persian is, a little bit about it, and if it's kind of worth learning. So yeah, we'll get straight into it. A little bit about it, just to start with. Persian has between 100 and 150 million speakers in total. I think it's around 130 million, most people say, but yeah, it does vary, and we'll talk about why that varies later, but it does have different dialects, so that can kind of impact it a bit. It is an Indo-Iranian language, so if you do already know a little bit about how languages are related to one another, basically they are related to one another, if you didn't know, and Indo-Iranian languages is another branch of the Indo-European family, of which English is in a separate branch. So they are actually somewhat related within the same family, but they are distant cousins. So yeah, English does come from a common ancestor very, very, very far back in history. So just a fact. Persian is also generally using the Perso-Arabic script. Not always. There is one exception. Actually, there's more than one exception. There's one main exception, which we'll talk about later, but generally it uses the kind of Arabic-looking alphabet, which I will show you a picture of. And although it might seem similar to Arabic, the two are not related. It is actually... Persian is actually more closely related to English than it is to Arabic, which is weird because a lot of the time when people only know English, they might look at Persian and they probably just assume it's Arabic because that's the only language they know that looks like that. So yeah, Persian is primarily spoken in Iran, Afghanistan, and Tajikistan, although it is pluricentric. Pluricentric is basically when a language is spoken in multiple countries and it's codified in different forms. So that means different countries have their own kind of version of that language that is not necessarily the same. So with English, for example, English is pluricentric because you've got like American English, British English, Australian English, where there are differences in the language. They're generally pretty small, but like there's different standard spellings of words and that kind of thing. That is the same with plenty of languages. With Persian, it is pluricentric, but unlike English, there's a much larger difference between how countries have it. So the Persian that is spoken in Iran, Afghanistan, and Tajikistan is a lot more different, which we will talk about later. But yeah, Persian also has a notable native-speaking community in Uzbekistan, plus other smaller communities in Greater Iran, which is a very, very large area. So there are plenty of small Persian-speaking countries basically everywhere. Communities, sorry, not countries. But yeah, how difficult is it? So Persian can be difficult as it is significantly different from English. So I'm just getting a drink of water. Persian is a completely foreign script, so 32 letters. If you do know anything about, this is the Persian script as well, it is basically the Arabic alphabet with 4 additional letters. From my understanding, I don't speak Persian, I only know some basic things about it. So yeah, sorry if that is incorrect, but that is my understanding of it. It does look very similar, so I would forgive you if you thought that was just the Arabic alphabet. So yeah, as you can see, it is completely foreign, so you would have to learn that and learn to use it effectively if you're going to learn this language. It's also written from right to left, just like Arabic, so that can be challenging as well. I don't actually find that difficult, but I know it does mess with some people's heads a lot. So yeah, the word order is subject, object, verb, so we've talked about that before. It's basically the subject is the first thing, just like in English, and then you put the object before the verb. So instead of saying, I eat the apple, you would say, I the apple eat, that equivalent in Persian. That's how you would write it, obviously with Persian words, but that is what you do. It also has foreign grammar, obviously. The reason I've written that is because with any language that is distant from English, it's going to have distant grammar rules, as in they're going to be more challenging just because they are less related. But the good thing is that they are meant to be logical in Persian, so you can learn them, although they are different, as opposed to languages like Spanish, for example, which have extremely similar grammar rules. So yeah, one good thing though is there is no grammatical gender at all and no adjective inflection. Adjective inflection is basically, if you've never learned a language before, you don't need to really worry about this, although I'd be wondering why you're learning Persian as a first language, which is fine, but yeah, it would be difficult. Adjective inflection is where adjectives, the ending changes a little bit for the noun. We don't have that in English at all, but in like Italian as an example, the adjective ending changes depending on the gender and number of the noun. Not something you need to worry about though. So yeah, that is good that it doesn't have that. And as far as cognates go, are words that are similar or the same in other languages. They do have a few from English, but I think most of Persian's cognates a lot of them come from French, and there are some that come from Arabic, even though they're not related. Arabic has kind of bled into it with those words that are similar. So yeah, and as far as dialects go, Persian spoken in Iran, is known as Farsi. The dialect spoken in Afghanistan is known as Dari, and the dialect spoken in Tajikistan is known as Tajik. That one is unique Tajik because it uses the Cyrillic alphabet, which is Cyrillic script, so it will look similar to Russian when written down. The reason it does that is because I believe it originally used the Persian-Arabic script, and then they switched to Latin, and then switched to Russian because Tajikistan was part of the USSR. So that is the reason why. I believe that really isn't that important, but just a little bit of history there. Persian is also considered easier than Arabic as it is more similar to English. So yeah, that too. But that's basically everything to do with it. Should you learn Persian? Given that Persian-speaking countries like, as I mentioned before, Iran, Afghanistan, are generally quite poor and not ideal for living in, I don't think speaking Persian may not be particularly useful. That might sound a bit harsh. I don't generally say the language I'm talking about is useless, and I won't ever say it's useless, but it is probably not the best. It's not the most important language you could learn. As always, though, if you do need it for a specific reason, context is key. If you're learning it for family or for a partner or for work or something, obviously it is more important for you than for another person. But just in general, it isn't probably that useful as a language to learn, particularly when other languages are spoken in, like, nicer countries without being rude, and they're easier to learn, and there's more people that speak them. That's kind of them being better in every way. So yeah, sorry if that offends you, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Overall, Persian is a challenging but rewarding language. I still think it is fun. I know some things. I think most of the things I know in Persian I probably can't say because it was taught to me by a friend. So, yeah, but it is a fun language to learn. Bits and pieces are from the parts I know. But yeah, we do have a Discord going, guys. It's primarily for language learners, but you can join it if you're interested in that kind of thing. So yeah, just to discuss random things. I'll have a link in the description. Anyone can join. I also do offer coaching calls, so I have a link to my website as well if you're interested in checking that out. But yeah, I would appreciate a like and subscribe because it does make me feel better about all the effort I put in for free. So yeah, thank you, and I hope you learned something.